one wonders whether after the events at the hospital he considered not coming, but he is here. He is stepping down the steps onto the soil of a country at war, and will head straight to meet Benjamin Netanyahu. And those two have a lot to talk about.
Let's get this over with.
I was deeply saddened and outraged by the explosion at the hospital in Gaza yesterday. And based on what I've seen, it appears as though it was done by the other team.
Not a game.
Not you. But there's a lot of people out there not sure. So we've got to overcome a lot of things. You know, years ago, I asked the Secretary of State when he and I were working in the Senate to write something for him, and he said, he wrote a line that I think is appropriate. He said, it's not, we lead, not just, well, I won't go into it, I'll wait later. Taking too much time.
That I was shown by my defense department.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
You look worried, Senator. I said, I am. She said, don't worry. We Jews have a secret weapon in our fight. We have no place else to go. Well, the truth of the matter is, if there weren't an Israel, we'd have to invent one. The truth of the matter is that I believe that, as I went home and said, I got in trouble at the time, but it's true. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. Today, I'm also announcing $100 million in new U.S. funding for humanitarian assistance in both Gaza and the West Bank. I've told the story before, and I'll tell it again, of my first meeting with an Israeli prime minister 50 years ago as a young senator. I was sitting across from Golda Meir at her desk in her office, and she had a guy who later became prime minister, sitting next to me. I've made wartime decisions. I know the choices are never clear or easy for the leadership. There's always cost. And my message to any state or any other hostile actor thinking about attacking Israel remains the same as it was a week ago. Don't.
Mr. President, what is your red line that would prompt U.S. military involvement in this war?
Mr. President, your team said you have tough questions.
Since this terrorist attack took place, we've seen it described as Israel's 9/11. Well, for a nation the size of Israel, it was like 15 9/11s.
Do you think it was necessary for you to come here to get this deal done? Was the in-person diplomacy aspect really important here?
What do you think? I'll let you answer that.
You said you were very blunt with the Israelis on the need to get humanitarian aid to Gaza, or what exactly?
On everything. I was very blunt about the need to support getting humanitarian aid to Gaza. Get it to Gaza and do it quickly.
All right.
Any more about the hospital, sir?
May I?
Don't.
May I ask you about that?
When we took off, my goal was multifold, but basically to get humanitarian aid into Gaza and get as many Americans out who wanted to get out, could get out, as possible. And so we got a commitment, as you know, from the Israelis, including their unanimous vote of their war cabinet and the prime minister. And the second thing was that I wanted to make sure there was a vehicle, a mechanism, that this could happen quickly.
How about the hospital, sir? People all over the region are upset about the hospital and don't necessarily believe you or the Israelis that they didn't have anything to do with it. Do you have a message to the people in the streets right now?
Well, I can understand why in this circumstance they wouldn't believe. I can understand that. But I would not, you notice I don't say things like that unless I have faith in the the source from which I've gotten them. Our Defense Department says it's highly unlikely that it was Israelis, but if a different footprint, and they've intercepted some anyway. So that's why, if you notice, I didn't say it first. I wanted to make sure that I knew. And look, and I'm not suggesting that Hamas deliberately did it either. It's that old thing, got to learn how to shoot straight. So there may be nothing rolling through until, what's today? I'm losing track of days. Thursday? Wednesday? Probably until Friday.
And that's the Rafah crossing you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, so Sisi agreed to open that up?
Yes, for this purpose. For this purpose. Not to allow a lot of people out, but to open it up for this purpose.
For humanitarian assistance.
For the humanitarian, for the trucks to be able to get through.
And is that just?
Well, you guys are such a pain in the neck. You know?
Sorry, sir.
But here's the deal. Up to 20 trucks.
What about getting people out?
Guys, we got
people evacuated.
The answer is we're going to get people out, but I'm not going to go into any detail with you now.
All right, we got to wrap up, guys. We got to wrap it up.
Are there Israelis operating within the rules of war that you talked about last week being so important?
Good talking to you.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.